Hi everybody, and welcome to another video guide. I just wanted to give you a little guidance on writing. This is a writing tip on content. What will you put in your paper? Let's take a look at what would you put in a college essay. Basically, the content I would like to suggest to you is in three distinct elements that you'll want to pay attention to. The demonstration of knowledge, telling me what you know about or of the topic. A clear, a strong, a robust presentation of your ideas on the topic. And of course, you'll want to include critical thinking, well evidenced critical thinking about the topic in every paper you'll write in college. Let's start with this demonstration of knowledge. Well, how do you demonstrate knowledge? Let me suggest to you that key is a movement in your logic argument from opinion-based arguments to evidence-based arguments. For illustration, what I quite frequently see in the college paper are statements of opinion. Papers will start topics, start paragraphs with statements like, well, I think this, or, you know, my opinion is this. In professional writing, certainly the college paper, but also all of your professional writing in your career will need to be evidence-based, not opinion-based. So, for illustration, in your professional work, in your career, you would never open a statement, a paper, a report to your superiors in your organization with, well, I don't know, but I think, my opinion is. So now, how do you demonstrate knowledge? There's a very standard structure to demonstration of knowledge in a professional environment. I suggest if you take a look at your slide on the right-hand side, you'll see you'll always want to make some sort of a thesis statement, whether, again, a college paper, as you will in this course, or a professional paper. A thesis statement clearly states your position relative to that topic. Then you'll probably want to make some presentation of the issues. What was the question you're answering? What is the topic of the paper? What have you been directed in the assignment guideline to present? Present something about the issue. Now, you will always, when you have moved to evidence-based writing, present some information, some evidence from the experts, from the scholars in that area. Here, key is, this is where, specifically where, you would bring in outside resources. This is where you cite your resources in text, and those are the sources that you'll include in your reference list. Then move into some statement, some idea about, well, what do you understand from this? All of this information, what does that mean to you relative to the topic? And then, of course, usually in professional writing, you'll make some clear statement of recommendation, a clear statement of your ideas about the topic, and then conclude. You'll move out of your logic argument. So, demonstration of knowledge. How do you do it? Move from opinion-based arguments, statements, to evidence-based statements. Statements that are well constructed on evidence that you provide from the scholarly world, the community of experts, if you will. Now let's take a look at robust presentation of your ideas. Now you know what you want to say, you've done your research, you have the evidence. Now you need to present it. You'll want to present it in a very structured, solid manner. Let me illustrate this from some things I have seen in college papers. If you take a look at the left side of your screen, sometimes papers are submitted, they seem almost like a stream of consciousness. It's there's a lot, I suggest you often, a lot of valuable information, but there isn't a structure to it. So it's hard to discern the underlying fundamental or foundational meaning from a lot of stated ideas and facts. So when you're grading that kind of paper, it's almost like trying to find Waldo. It's like finding Waldo. I know often in student essays that the idea is there, the logic is there, but it's very hard to discern from the structure of the presentation. All right, so now that said, let's move to the right side of your screen. What you'll see, and this is easy to research online, but basically, let's take a flow of a presentation from the paper to the specific paragraph. If you look on the right side of your screen in that box, you'll see on the right side of the box is the basic flow of an essay. Well, how does an essay flow? You always in college or in your career, professional papers, open with an introductory statement. There has to be an introduction to what you're presenting. Then you present it in a series of body paragraphs. Of course, at the end of your presentation, you conclude. This reminds me of the old sales adage about tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them. Then tell them what you told them. An introduction is, well, tell them what you're going to tell them. An introduction opens up the essay that says, this is the thesis statement that I have for this essay. This is what I will cover in these areas. Then when you get into the body, you tell them what you have opened up in your introduction, the specific elements of your idea. Those are the body paragraphs of your paper. If your introduction says, well, I'm going to tell them about these 3 things, well, I would expect to see at least 3 solid paragraphs that address those 3 key topics that you introduced. At the end of your essay, you conclude, remember the sales adage, I tell them what I'm going to tell them, I tell them, then I tell them what I told them. Your conclusion is telling them what you've already told them. The conclusion takes the meat from all of the body paragraphs and leaves the reader with a synoptic, almost a snapshot of what your essay covered. Now take a look at the left side of that box. You will find the paragraph structure is very close to the very structure of the overall essay. Look at the body of a paragraph. You'll always open a paragraph with a thesis sentence. You have to open up the paragraph and say, this is what I believe. This is the idea. This is the notion that I'll explore in this paragraph. Then what do you do in the body of the paragraph? Explore it. Bring up key evidence. What do the experts say? What do the scholars say? Your critical thinking about that topic. And then, of course, as you move out of the paragraph, you conclude the paragraph, usually opening up, hey, what are we moving into in the next paragraph? So that's robust presentation. Now let's take a look at critical thinking. You can always go to, which is an interesting research journey for you, go to criticalthinking.org and take a look at their ideas around critical thinking. But basically some key notions I would bring up for you about critical thinking. You'll see that the experts say it's an intellectual, disciplined process. So critical thinking does not suggest just a simple statement or a definition. Critical thinking suggests, well, there's a process by which I go about thinking about this topic. Well, what am I thinking about? Notice their next key point, evaluating information. You're bringing in all the information, things that you've seen, heard, that you well understand from experience. What do the experts say? What do the scholars say? You're thinking about how all of that synthesizes together into, notice that third key point, it's a guide to your belief and action. Critical thinking about something is bringing in other information, comparing it to what you already know. Often you'll see a change in a belief that drives a change in action. You'll see this powerfully in professional documents when you write reports for your superiors at work, that you've critically thought about the situation or the topic that they've assigned to you. Notice also it's very clear, it's accurate, it's precise. You bring in specific information, you well cited, avoiding plagiarism, and compare what you know, what you've done, what your experiences are with expert knowledge. Look in the lower left-hand corner, it's a little cleaner definition from the dictionary, but it's a disciplined thinking. Disciplined thinking. So it's not just opinion, I think this, I saw this. It's really a disciplined thinking process about the topic, and not only what you know about it, what you've experienced with it, but that new information. All right, let me show you something else quickly about my expectations about critical thinking. And now what I am looking for in your college paper, what I'm most interested in is a clear, a strong demonstration of your original thought, your original thinking around the topic. I'm looking for how you integrate specific scholarly, expert information, ideas, notions, theories, and couple those, marry those to your experience, your prevailing thoughts and opinions, beliefs about the topic. Sometimes you'll find that, again, those ideas about a topic will shift from your based on your critical thinking. I'm very, very interested in the academic paper, your demonstration of comfort with application of the topic. So if if the topic lends itself to it, be sure to integrate into your essay your critical thinking about, well, how would the topic, this question, how would that play out in the real world, in the workplace? All right, so basically that's it, everybody. That is my video guide on content of the college paper. All right, good writing, everybody. I'll see you online.